United struggled for goals in the Premier League last season, so you'd think adding two of the Premier League's best forwards, a young striker already with an excellent goal record, would fix all of our problems, right? Well, it's not that simple.
You cannot be serious!
I'm here to explain why other changes are needed to the way United approach the attacking third. What do I mean? Well, yes, United did miss a lot of good scoring opportunities last season, but our XG was still only 12th or 13th, depending on who you ask. So even if we did get the goals we were expected to get, then we wouldn't have climbed the table all of that much. Putting it simply, United don't create good chances often enough.
You know, sometimes your words, they hurt.
The best teams occupy the opposition box. They keep them pinned in, suffocating them until all that momentum builds up, and then in theory, it will always lead to goals. Think of the best Klopp or Pep teams, and this definitely applies to them. United simply didn't do that last year, and to be fair to Amorim, they haven't done it for quite a few years now. Even in pre-season so far, I've seen United waste so many good opportunities by taking the speculative option far too often. Because even last season, we did take a lot of shots, which would indicate that we're at least getting into some decent positions. But the trouble is, we took some of the most shots from outside of the box, and we rarely find a man for a tap-in inside the 6-yard box, resulting in the lowest XG per shot in the league last season. And in turn, far too much of the game is spent played in our own third rather than the opposition's, as we turn the ball over so easily. And we rarely cross the ball in the Premier League either, again favouring that long-range attempt, again turning over the ball far more often than you'd like. There were signs against Bournemouth in pre-season, which happened to be United's best pre-season performance, but it was signs that Amorim was starting to commit more players into the opposition box, and United were willing to simply just cross the ball in. You'd think Šeško would thrive off an Mbeumo cross, and we simply need to see now if this new forward line can gel in the coming weeks, but for it to work, we need to improve on our attention in the opposition half. Even in our last game of pre-season, we played without a focal point, and we very much struggled in that game, up against a stubborn Fiorentina one, but we barely created any open play chances. You'd like to think with a striker in there, that would get a lot better. But what is the true cause of our issues that we've had over the last few years? Well, to me, it's a little of this and a little of that.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
The players do have to take some of the blame. The likes of Fernandes, he always takes stick for his erratic approach. But without him, United simply wouldn't have had a lot of attacking output at all last season. And I do think when you rely on Fernandes too much, he carries that burden a little bit too personally. And he simply just tries too hard. In a good team with lots of options, lots of chance creators, then I do think he's less erratic as the pressure isn't on him as much. Interestingly though, you want to look at a player that had less XG per shot in the Premier League last season? Well, you end up with Matheus Cunha. If the two of them are going to be shooting from all angles next season, then our box occupation is only going to get worse. And simply put, if that's the case, United aren't going to be successful. Last season, you add in the likes of Garnacho, who's very much a shoot-first type of player. There's no wonder you have issues retaining the ball. Deeper in midfield, Casemiro, Ugarte, they're not known for their wonderful ball-playing ability. Particularly Casemiro. If you give him license, he will play, and he has the tendency to play that high-risk pass. It's not all the players, though. For years under Ten Hag, we had this style of playing very quickly into the opposition third, not taking the opportunity sometimes just to pin the opposition into their own half. Everything was fast and erratic, and it led to these painful basketball-type matches where you see these type of transitions a lot in those games. Our players looked knackered, our defence was leaking like a sieve, and United simply struggled. I do believe that Amorim wants to change this, but his trouble so far has been progressing the ball into the opposition half. We spend a lot of time with the ball between the centre-backs. Getting up the pitch has been a struggle. A big reason why I wanted a midfielder before a striker this summer. We haven't seen enough of Amorim's United to see his true intentions with United's attack just yet though. And changing those high-risk tendencies of some of these players is going to be an almighty struggle now. There's been talk recently of Amorim wanting his team to play at different tempos, to disrupt the opposition a little bit more. But for me, they're still a little bit too high throttle heavy at the top end of the pitch. What are the fixes then? Well, obviously better quality players are going to help. Someone like an Mbeumo gives you that. Šeško up front definitely gives you the option to cross it rather than take that long shot. If we can get a midfielder, can they retain possession at a greater rate than what we currently do? But it also has to be drilled in by Amorim as well. Get this team playing smarter at the top end of the pitch. Train how to keep that box occupation a little bit better. I'm really hoping that given that extra training time, having that pre-season under our belts, we can start to see a little bit more of that now in the season to come.
You want too much.
I hope the answer isn't just, oh well, with better quality players, we'll score more goals. Doesn't always work that way. I've no doubt they're going to help, but it isn't the final answer. And I think United have suffered with that over the course of a few seasons now. Just putting new attackers in there, just hoping that that's going to do the trick, and it hasn't worked. I think a lot has to do with how these managers set up. So far, we haven't seen enough of Amorim to know how much better he's going to be compared to the likes of Ten Hag. There was a reason why we got rid of Ten Hag at the time. He didn't really quite click in United's attacking game or the defensive stuff either. Amorim, we're going to have to wait and see now in the Premier League whether he can really resolve United's attacking issues. We know we've got other stuff to sort out as well. But the goal scoring situation was awful last season. But I want to provide in this video as to why just signing better quality players, our expectations can't go through the roof immediately. They've got to gel, they've got to click, and also the manager's got to provide them with the best environment to get those goals as well. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one.